All right, it is a hot day in Florida, right? It's like 90 degrees every day. All right, I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing before I get too far into this project, because I've already done a lot of work already and I want to show you where I'm at. I thought it'd be kind of neat to create a book accurate version of the wand, but kind of based off of the ones in the film. The two films that I think are the most accurate to the books are probably the first and second. Even though they don't have everything, of course, they're probably the most accurate. It's unfair because they're the shortest books. But I took the wand designs from the first and second movies of the three main kids. I've redesigned them. I've made it easier to print out for one. But also I made them all 14 inches long. I'm pretty sure these are correct. I hope they're correct. They feel correct and right to me. And this is Harry's, the one. So this would be the 3 wands that they got in their first year. Harry and Hermione got theirs from Ollivander, and Ron got his from his brother. They're very simple. They were originally believed to just be long pieces of wood, like a baton, like for a conductor with an orchestra. Just a skinny piece of wood. Nothing too fancy. But of course, that's not fun. So they made them neat and cool and fancy and amazing and intricate, and they designed the heck out of them. Because of course you don't want to just have like a boring stick. You want to have like a cool looking wand that looks like it's been ripped off of a tree and it's bark on it and all kinds of cool stuff. Or you want it to make it look like it's made out of bone or something. Even though this is supposed to be, Alexa, what is Voldemort's wand made of? You would. That's what it is.
Wood, known associated with the Voldemort's wand. Harry shares its core material with the
All right, Alexa. You would. I don't know why I didn't remember that. You would. Like in the book, all the wands are different shapes and sizes, but they're all very simple. That's definitely something that they got away from with the movies. With Harry, this was the design that I found that actually was supposed to be the design for all of the wands. And this is very similar to Molly Weasley's wand. Now, what I did is I just made them all 14 inches long. That seems to be a standard size of wand in the wizarding world, so I went with 14 inches. But, as you probably know, after reading the books, none of those are 14 inches long. None of them. All of them are wrong. All of them are incorrect. I've been reading the books again, and I decided, hey, why don't we make the wands the size they would have been in the book? So I took the design that they got in the first films, and I just made them smaller. If you guys want to, I can put these online, and you guys can snag them and print them out on your own. They're very easy to print. I've added a small core on the inside. It's a very small rod that goes on the inside of the wand, and the holes are modeled into it so it slips right in there. For example, I have one that I have not taken off the build plate yet, but you can see the holes that are inside. So I have the same gauge rod here. This will go directly in there. Easy, no sanding. All right, whoops, there we go. Yeah, so that's really super easy to do, and that's no big deal. Bronze wand, for example, which is 14 inches long in the films, and make it the right size. In the books, it is 12 inches long. That is not as long as in the film. I'm assuming this is how long his wand is in the second film. It just kind of looks right, but I also have 36-year-old size hands, so I don't know. Maybe this is actually the correct size but anyway, I made it the right size from the books. So I haven't glued these together yet, but I have Harry's wand, which is 11 inches long, and then also you have Hermione's wand, which is 10 inches and 3/4. I'm hoping to put them all together and possibly paint them to look more or less accurate. Hermione's is gonna be the hard one because she has this part of her wand looks almost like I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, let me know, because that's gonna be the tricky, because it looks like it's maybe marble. It looks like it may be like an opal. Like a mother of pearl almost. So that's gonna be very tricky to figure out how to do that texture. But the other two guys, theirs are made out of wood. So simple. I'm excited to add this to my collection. It is very weird. It is so weird to see these tiny little wands because they're so small. When you're used to these big, like huge things, when it's just it just looks so insignificant. But I wanted to make something that was more true to the books and more book canon wands than something that's just movie canon wands. Anyway, I hope all of that made sense, or at least a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and start painting these. Or no, not painting them. I gotta glue them together first. That's what we gotta do. Make sure they're all like strong. Look at that, not going anywhere. All of these are deal. This one I'm a little more fragile. It is so skinny. Look how skinny that thing is. So skinny. All right, so I've gotten them all glued together. They're so little. I'm gonna try to color them, paint them, make them look good. That's the idea, right? That's the plan. This is Hermione's, this is Harry's in the middle, and this is Ron's. His would be the biggest one, but he's kind of like the brute of the group. I kind of feel like if you saw these in a store, you would probably think they were just like miniature versions, but they're the right size in the books. I got all these covered in Bondo now. I'm very happy with these. These look pretty good. Try and get them all smoothed out and everything, and we'll see what happens. See how that goes. Okay, all right, so I've gotten a little further with this. It's been a couple of weeks. All right, so I recorded a whole bunch of stuff, and I realized I wasn't actually recording anything. Here we go again. I have Ron's 2 wands from the first film. One's broken, one's not. I'm gonna put some tape on it when I'm finished with it. And then I have Harry's wand, his little one, and Hermione's little one. The paints I'm gonna work on, or the paints I'm gonna work with, are going to be this satin warm caramel color. It looks like. I also have this gloss chestnut that I'm gonna try to use. And then I'm gonna give this a shot too. I have a dark walnut wood stain, sprayable stain. And then also I have, this is the main part of the technique that I'm hoping works out. I have these Copic ink, alcohol ink refill pens. So basically I have a light mahogany, that's gonna be E07, and I have a walnut, which is E59, focus, there you go. And then also a light walnut, which is E57, all right? Now I did some tests with my McGonagall wand that I made, and so it's black on the tip and then a wood, kind of like a mahogany on the tip, or in the handle, I guess. And this looks a lot more acceptable as wood than what it was before. You can see all the striations in there. And basically what I do is I put some on the surface and I wipe it away with a chip brush of some kind. You have to be fast with it though, because it is alcohol ink and it doesn't dry fast. So right now, let's see, I'll take you over to the wands that I have right now. Basically I've already painted the handle, the tip sides of the wand with, this is gonna be the warm caramel, and then the other two are both with the gloss chestnut, because I was looking up other reference photos of those two, and they apparently are a little darker than Ron's is. And Ron's is actually 2 colors. It's a little darker on the handle than it is on the, so. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna let those dry a little bit more. I'm gonna paint these up also with the colors, and then we'll see if this alcohol ink trick works. I'm also trying to add a little bit of stain to my Dumbledore Elder Wand also. I really don't know if you can tell, but this side of the handle is not stained yet, and this side is, with that dark walnut. And I may just see what happens. I'm gonna probably add some of that alcohol ink on here to add some striations to it, to have it, give it some wood grain, and then maybe put the dark walnut on top of it again. But again, like you can see, like this is the drier looking side that doesn't have any stain on it, and this side is the side with a stain on it. And I will definitely go back over and put some white dry brushing on this as well too, because you know that's what it looks like. And this one I made a couple of years ago, and this actually is in 3 pieces, I think, and I was able to get the layer lines down really nicely, and I also was able to remove the connection sections also. If you were to print something like this a couple years ago on a printer, you're not gonna get up all the way up there very well. It's gonna get all wobbly, and you're gonna have a lot of mistakes happen. So what I actually did is I printed as far as I could until the mistakes started causing an issue. As far as it like wobbling back and forth while it's printing, it looked horrible. I had to sand it all down, and then I actually just printed off the very tip of it. I was able to print it off to where I could get a little bit of a metal wire inside of it, and then I stuck it right on there, and I was able to get the right length, which is I think it's 15 inches. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's. If I'm wrong, I'll put it down here. Yeah, that's about right. Really curious to see if this is gonna work. What I've learned so far. I like how this is looking, but the problem is that some of these are not the right color. For instance, Hermione's wand is a heck of a lot darker than this. It's more like this black. It's almost like black. And the handle, I don't know if it's a mother of pearl handle or just like a marble handle. I think I've convinced myself that it's maybe a marble sort of handle. So I think I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna get some new paints and see if I can continue this with a darker coat on some of these. All right, so I've already kind of started on the painting already. I got some new paints, very exciting. So I got some darker paints. I got a satin walnut, dark walnut. I got a Kona brown, which is kind of like in between this. And I got a satin espresso. So the espresso is, these are all like just real close. Seems like they're real close together. But it's, let's see if they pass. The dark walnut is probably the darkest, and then the satin espresso, you can't see because I'm way over here. Move this over a little bit. So I'm trying to create more of a realistic tone with the wood. Basically just layering a bunch of different together, and then taking aluminum foil and kind of like grabbing it and trying to get some of that wet paint off while it's still wet, and it creates a kind of a neat texture. I'm gonna also go over it with some sandpaper as well and see if that helps get back some of the grain that I'm putting. And then after I'm done with this, I might go over it with some of that alcohol ink and probably, I wonder where that's going. Bring us over here. All right, just so you know, I'm gonna be starting with the walnut. Just because it's the lightest, but also it's not the lightest. It's probably the medium. Yeah, the medium. It's in between the 3 that I have right now. I was able to get through with one of the wands, and I'm pretty happy with it as of right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm gonna try to get some nice photos of this. But I was able to get a really nice wood grain on this yesterday. Basically going back and forth between all of the alcohol inks that I have, the light walnut, and the mahogany. The light mahogany. Even the light mahogany even turns out to be in like this color. So yeah. So what I was able to do is I thought it was really interesting because between the base coats of spray paint that I put on there and all the alcohol inks, I was able to get a very, I think, a passable effect to the wand that makes it almost indistinguishable between a Wizarding World wand. So this is Harry's. This is the one I bought in London a couple years ago. You can see that there's wood grain on there. This one's made of resin. It does have a core inside, but the two of these side by side look really similar, at least in person. So the texture and the technique that I was using seems to have worked, given this one's much glossier right now because I have not put a matte finish on it yet. Hopefully, though, I can put this same effect. I'm gonna take some pictures and I'm going to show you guys what this looks like, hopefully in person versus on the videotape. But I think this looks pretty great compared to the Wizarding Wand. Just want to get you that texture, that color is very similar. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. The trick with this is not trying to make it too perfect, you know? Like, it just needs to be convincing enough to be like, this could be made of wood, you know? And what I also did is I kept going back over with some sandpaper. I didn't go too heavy with the sandpaper. I did 220 sandpaper grit. I used some water just to kind of go over. If I was wanting to remove some of the alcohol ink, I would use that, and it would also add a little bit of streaking to it. But I don't want to smooth it out fully. I want to allow that to kind of live there, you know? All right, I'm going to continue with this and see if I can get more of these done today. But I have 2 more of Ron's Ron's wands. I got one, it's both of the smaller ones, but the one's broken. And then I have all 4 of the other ones to do also. But I'll try to get some more of these done. Here we go. Don't want to go any further with this anymore because this looks I think this looks really good. It looks similar to this. I got the same sort of deal going on. Yeah, I'm happy with this. It was a little simpler this time. It is smaller, but I mean, it's significantly smaller. But I'm trying to go a little simpler with this. It's not like I'm needing, this one I did put a lot of coats on and I kind of sanded down a lot and I went back and put in more, but I learned from that one. And for this one, the true one, this one, trying to focus on not overdoing it, you know, like you don't want to overdo it. So basically all I did was, so for this one, what I did is I had the base coat of the warm caramel spray, which you can get at like any hardware store. It's a Rust-Oleum, you know. And then I took like a mix of the Espresso. I think I used the dark walnut and the Kona brown. So the dark walnut one and the Kona brown, which are like both browns, but one's a little lighter. And what I wanted to do is I've noticed that the tip of the bottom of the handle of the pommel area of the wand is a little darker. The notches where your fingers would sit are a little darker, which would make sense because like you're holding it, all that nasty oil from your hands getting on there are a little darker. But the middle area in the middle isn't as dark. So I kind of let that sit there, and then I went over it with I tried some of the mahogany, but I think it's just too red for this one, so I just stuck with both of the walnuts that I have, and I just kind of went over it. I put like a line on there, took the brush and went over it. When you do that, make sure that you are brushing one direction. If you brush in both directions, you're just getting like splotchiness. But if you brush in one direction, you'll get the strands to go. It'll look like a wood grain. It'll go in one direction. It doesn't go both ways. So yeah, I'm liking this. Yes, I'm liking this a lot. This is looking really good. This is looking believable. All right, I got one more Ron's wand to do, and then I'll be finished those. Then I'll just put I may put a matte coat on. I'm definitely gonna need to put a matte coat on this one because I put a clear coat on this for some reason, just to kind of as a protective shield, but I need to do it with a matte. All right, we're gonna do the last one of Ron's wand, which is gonna be this guy. You can see that I'm starting with that warm caramel color. This is the base coat. And for this one, I have a slightly darker brown on the handle, but it's not gonna make a difference at all because I'm gonna spray over it anyway. So, but you can see that warm caramel through some of it. You know, it's all about the layers. It's all about the layers. It's all on the layers. Right, yeah, those look good. They match. I want them to match. That is the goal. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do wands, broken wand. Now when I'm done with this, I'm hoping to find some scotch tape and I'll wrap it around it like crazy. Maybe have a dangle from it and stuff. But this is the base coat for the warm caramel color that is on this one. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so I would also say, just a suggestion, if you guys were to do this, if you're making these wands, for instance, or anything that have like cuts, you'll probably be tempted to like start at the cut and go that way with it to make a nice grain stripe. But then also, if there are cuts in this and you want to make it look like it was made on a lathe, I would start before it and go across it, and then go across to where then the striping will go across the cut. And it'll look like you cut it on a lathe, and it'll look like the grain goes all the way down the piece of wood. So think about that when you guys are making these also. This looks like a piece of wood. I like it a lot. All right, so I'm gonna try to give you a closer look at this time. I'm pretty sure this is 11 inches long, is his little one. The handle, I think, is a little bit darker, and I think this bit at the very end is a lot darker. So I'm gonna try to create that sort of look. I'm gonna try to do it without taping it off. I'm just gonna kind of maybe sand off that area a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna double check the color. I was sort of right and wrong. So it starts off really dark at the end here, and then it kind of fades up to a more neutral tone. It starts dark here again and goes and gets lighter throughout. So I'm gonna give that base coat to that, and then start applying some mahogany, because it's not red enough to be not mahogany, walnut. It's not red enough to be mahogany, but I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna start with my dark walnut. It's all walnut. It's wonderful. Okay, I got warm caramel, and I got dark walnut. There we go. I'm gonna try real quick to make the end of this a little darker. I'm gonna tape it off and see if I can make that tip a little darker. It's just not dark enough.
Question 8.
I got it. I think this looks pretty good. Look at that. Now, let's see if I can make this other one look similar to it. So what I'm going to do for this little one, I'm going to tape it off first. I'm going to paint this tip right here with my dark walnut paint. I'm going to paint the middle part area here with the dark walnut paint. And then I'm going to start applying all of these alcohol inks to it. So far, it is working out very well. Very happy with it. So this is the big one. This is the big one. I think it looks pretty good. Then also, this is the small one. This is the book accurate size. I think this one looks pretty good too. Yeah, it looks like it's made out of wood. Like, well, not as much that it looks like it's made out of wood, is that it looks like the same sort of texture and technique that the Wizarding World is using. So I know that may be kind of hard to see, but you can tell that like there's a similar texture on these. And these look more fake than this does. So don't know what that says, but because you can tell that's not carved out of wood, it's all made out of resin. But this is just 3D printed. This is all this is this stuff. It's just this guy. So with a little brass rod inside it. So awesome. Okay, so now I got 2 more left. All right. I got both of them here. I got both of the little one and big one. So I watched the movie again this weekend, and what I realized is, or what I've decided I'm gonna do for this is, this shaft is more brown than black. Before I thought it was black, but what I've decided is that in the movie, From what I can tell, it looks like it's more brown, so it's like a dark, dark brown. And then the handle here is not necessarily marble, but it definitely looks like marble. At least it looks like a version of marble. So I might actually try to do like a marble texture on top of it. I kind of want to try that out. It kind of looks like a blurry marble, at least from the movie. So I'm going to try that out and see if that works out. I'm going to try a new technique that I found to create a marble texture on the handle. But first we got to paint the shafts correctly, and then we can move on to that. You know what I just noticed is I may have broken the end of this wand off. Look at that. Right there. I have the tip of it still. So I could attach it still. I got the tip of it. I don't know why that happened. The beam's still in there. You cannot see it, but it is in there. Because it's glued in. But I can definitely see it. I'm gonna see if I can put a little bit more wire in there and see if I can reattach it. I'm gonna see if I can do that. I think I fixed it. It's all better now. It's healed. I've healed it, I've glued it together, and I have sanded it down to where maybe it looks right. Okay, I'm gonna paint it now. So I went with a dark brown, not a black, but after watching the movie again, I realized that it was not a dark, it wasn't a black, it was a dark brown. So went with more like a dark walnut. So it's definitely dark, but it's not black. I think I'm gonna put a little bit more on here because it's dark, but I kind of want it to get a little darker. I want it to be a little darker than this one. The Harry and Ron ones, I want those to be I want it to be darker. It needs to be darker than that, I think. So we're just gonna make it darker. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep adding more. All right, I think I'm at a good point with this. Let's see if I can show this to you closer in the light. The goal was to make it dark, but not black. But I still wanted it to be a brown color, like a dark brown. I think both of these look pretty good. You can still see the grain in there. I'm pretty happy with this. They're dark, but they're not black. That's man, it's hard to tell. I'm gonna have to take pictures of all of these when I'm done to show you guys what they all look like in person. Yeah, I think these look good. I think they look good. Now I gotta figure out how to marbleize this texture onto the handles. That's the next one. And then I might be figure that out. I've never done that before, so I don't know how to do this yet. So we're gonna learn. I'm gonna learn. It'll be great. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna do a test first. I'm gonna use some of this foam to create maybe like a texture on there first, and then I have these 4 colors. So I'm gonna start off with a white chiffon. A white chiffon first on the base. Okay, good there. Then, ooh, I need a feather. So I saw this trick with a feather. Use a feather. I have a couple of feathers on hand, I guess, for no particular reason, really. But the idea is that you kind of dip the paint in the feather in the paint, and then you go along and you create the veins in the marble. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna build up the colors, I think. Let's see. I think I might do this first. Oh, there. Into some of this, that color. Okay, I'm gonna rip off some of this. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just making this up as I go. So let's see, I'm just gonna see it. Okay, all right. And then I got this. Alexa, turn on garage. Okay. Okay, that's kind of mixing it a little bit more. Let's see if these work. Got some other feathers also, guys. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm just making some lines with some feathers and seeing if I can make some sort of pattern with, yeah, it might work. It might work. So I'm gonna do the big one first. Let me see if I can do it. All right, so we need to tape it off. We need to tape it off first. All right. All right, I've gone ahead and started. I almost forgot to record. So basically, I just dipped some water in the lighter paint here, and I'm just starting to dab it on. Just dab it on with a sponge. Nothing too complicated. I'm not going too crazy, also. At least not yet. See how I got this kind of nice marbly looking effect, this sort of color scheme, this kind of orangey pinkish color scheme. So I went with that white chiffon as a base color. This is the base color I use. This is what color that looks like. Then I use these 3 different shades. Warm Bisque makes me think of like lobster bisque. Teddy bear tan Pueblo. Figured I needed to be in the same color scheme, and I just used sponges, dry sponges, wet sponges, some feathers to kind of get like the kind of random striations in there. And then I just kind of started dabbing some off, putting more on, dabbing more off. All right, I'm gonna move on to do the last piece of this. Make this like this. I'm really happy. All right, let's do that. Okay, so I finished all the wands, and I want to show you guys. I wanted to show you them without a ton of glare and whatnot, because the other day when I was doing this, I could not get it. I could not get a good photo. So I wanted to take some good video of wands, but so that you can see how it actually looks with nice lighting. See how I just think this looks wonderful. This is Harry's. I think wow, Harry's looks good. It's like, let's see if I can get a good shot without so much. There we go, look at that. Handle. I love these Noble Collection ones, but the ones I made look actually like they're out of wood versus the Noble Collection ones. Like the work on these are not bad. It's just you can tell that they are mass produced. They make tons of them. If I could get another one of these Harry wands from the Noble Collection, I would actually try to repaint it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't change a lot about it. I would just repaint it because I just think that would be really cool to make it look more like wood. And then Hermione's is a lot shinier because hers I put a gloss coat on this section here, but you can see this marble texture, this marble pattern that I was able to get on there also. And the actual wand piece is very dark, but you can still see some grain in there. In person, you can see a lot more, and I think it looks really, really nice. What I did find also is that if you guys are using the alcohol inks, this is kind of a nice little variation in this. This is the smaller piece, but you can see right here, there's a dark space. That's actually some alcohol ink that I didn't actually get all covered up, but I was seeing that and it kind of looked like it fit in with the pattern here. I wanted to show you guys the rest of these. I wanted to get better video of what they actually look like and the texture I was able to add, but I think these turned out really good. All right, well, again, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you did like this video, I know it may have been long, like it in the bottom, subscribe also. And if you want to make these, I'm going to leave the files and everything I used to build this project down below. So definitely do check that out. And I'll see you guys real soon.